Yeah.
Woo!
June 1st, 2016, guys. Cop Block Radio.
That's exciting.
How you guys doing? We're halfway
Man,
through
Doing,
dude,
the year. We're
it's getting
halfway through
hot.
another year.
I know this year is going lightning fast, but hey, I am Matt of Carbon County Cop Block.
I am
Rick
Severin from Lehigh Valley Cop Block.
and Rick Gonzalez from Allentown Cop Block.
What's up,
Hey,
guys?
How's it going, man?
How you guys
Rick,
feeling?
welcome to the show, man.
Hey, can't complain. Thank you.
Life is good, you know?
Absolutely. So we have a jam-packed show tonight. We've got some really good stuff. We got some articles. We've also got an awesome discussion, and we're going to bring in Scott Marshall of the Oath Accountability Project, and maybe some other people to discuss it with us. Can't wait to get to that at the top of the hour. But for now, Severin, have you had any interaction with cops this week?
You know, that's kind of the problem here. Me and Rick came into the week in a dilemma. We went out 4 nights in a row and caught 0 footage. 0. 4 nights in a row, like 3 hours at a time, and 3-4 hours. We got 0 footage. So Rick and I decided that it was time to upgrade our system. Our current system of driving around looking for police lights was not working. So we dropped a few dollars and we got these awesome police scanners.
Woohoo!
Can't hide from us anymore. And
Well, that's not entirely true, though. Because what about what's going on in Allentown? They're still trying to hide.
Oh,
so
yeah, definitely.
after we get these police scanners, I'm setting them all up today, programming stuff, and I'm searching for Rick's area, Allentown, to program in, and I can't find anything but a couple people in forums talking about it. Finally, I come across the answer. Allentown police back in 2012, against the public's desires, switched their radios to non-public. Now, police radios are supposed to be public information. You can actually freedom of information request any of their communications
Correct.
and get chunks of it or whatever you're looking for. So it's an open record situation. The public is supposed to be open, like the police are supposed to be open in their activities of what they're doing. But against everyone's wishes, they went encrypted. They spent $1.1 million back in 2012 to encrypt their radio systems to disallow people like us from hearing them. And
Well, that's not shady at all.
no, not at all, especially since they made a lot of promises when they did this because the media was very concerned. The media has a right to know what's going on and has a right to be there and report on things if they're newsworthy.
Well, not only does the media have the right to know, but the civilians have the right to know.
Absolutely. There's people that just sit in their house and listen to police scatter just to know what's happening in their area. There's nothing
Absolutely.
wrong with that. Well, the cops said that it was officer safety and that bad guys listened to them too. But in the meeting where they were trying to push this program forward, they were unable to give any of the council members any instance where someone has used a police radio to harm an officer. And they were also unable to, they made a whole lot of promises about, oh, well, if we do this, we're going to keep the media fully informed on all of our calls. We'll have regular records going out, and we'll be making calls whenever something major happens. Well, that hasn't happened. This was back in 2012, and they have not kept their promise. They are as secretive as ever, and this just disturbs the hell out of me. I had no idea that even their police radio communications are encrypted. What are they hiding, guys?
Yeah, that is just something that absolutely concerns me, because if you really think about it, why would people who are supposed to be there to protect and serve you hide what they're doing, even all the way down to their communications, which almost everywhere else has wide open for the public to be able to hear? That really makes it seem like that they know that they're doing stuff that's corrupt, and they want to keep it on the low. And it doesn't surprise me with Allentown, considering, they're in the midst of an FBI investigation against, what is it, the mayor?
Yeah, Mayor Pulaski.
That just happened. But,
Yeah, so there's so much corruption in this town. It doesn't surprise me that they would go as far as just as it to have been from years ago. Like you said, in 2012 was when this passed. But, they have to start somewhere to be able to get their bullshit through. And I mean, just because it happened in
let me give you
2012.
a little insight of the environment of Allentown in 2012. The NIS, the big development, the big multi-million-dollar arenas that were put in were not in yet.
Yep.
The author of the Lehigh Valley Live article suspected and said to the readers that The reason for this is because the NIS was just going through and they wanted to hide the actual crime reports and hide how much crime was actually happening so that they can get all this funding from all these rich people.
You know what that's called?
Fraud.
Gentrification. That's what they're trying to do. They were trying to fake the numbers to turn around and spruce up the area so they could turn it from being what was initially not exactly a slum, but a low-income area, and they wanted to take that and turn it into something that could become extremely profitable. So they threw so much money into Hamilton Street that it pushed some of that back a couple blocks. I mean, you come off this street, which looks like it could be outside of Philadelphia, like northeast Philadelphia, where it's there's plenty to do on it and whatnot, and it looks like it belongs there. And then just 3 blocks down, it becomes a completely different area. So it was all about trying to take this area, hide what was going on in it, and attempt to turn it into a spot that created so much revenue that it paid for the fact that they pushed so many people out.
And it didn't.
No.
Here we are, 2016, and they are broke.
Yeah.
They failed. Their job failed. That whole NIS, the whole operation of the NIS is trying to distance itself from Allentown totally because of the FBI. It's unbelievable to me that they took all these steps and still failed and spent so much of our money against our wishes.
Well, that just shows you. I mean, that's our government at its finest. That's what it does. It comes up with horrible plans to do, the idea of taking that area and turning it into a better spot, that's a noble idea, but then turning around and doing it the way they did it is shady as fuck. So that turns it into something that obviously had ulterior motives, which was money revenue that would go back into the fat cat's pockets. So the more money that they're going to, try to make off of this, the more they're going to corrupt themselves to try to ensure that they actually get their money. And that's what happened to Allentown. Allentown has turned into a cesspool because everybody's on somebody else's dollar. But that's our government from the bottom to the top.
I mean, I don't see it as that you say that this is government from bottom to the top. I see Allentown as a unique situation, honestly. It is bad. It is really, really bad, from the mayor all the way down to the local, the crossing
council.
The city council, like everybody. It's like corruption from one spot all the way up.
Well, county jail, people die.
Yeah, but see, you say that, but then you can just look at, you can take a couple different spots in Pennsylvania. You look at Philadelphia, and you look at Mayor Nutter, who was actually caught in a hotel room with a hooker doing cocaine, was taken out of office, turned around, and just the very next time that elections came up, ran and got back in office, and is still currently sitting his ass in office. So don't tell me.
That's the American dream, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a unique situation. This is America. This is government across America, and that's really the message that needs to be taken from this. Is just that this is what's going on everywhere.
I guess because it's so close to us and we see it every day.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, you're reading newspapers and frontline, headlines at grocery stores, and all it's going to have is the shit that's going on in your backyard. But you're not going to hear what's going on out in Milwaukee. Well, same thing. They're not going to hear what's going on out in Allentown, but I bet you there are people sitting out there in Milwaukee who is like, man, this entire system is fucked up, and would tell you damn near the same story we just said.
True. I agree. So what about you, Matt? Did you guys, did Carbon County have any action this week? Did you guys get busy, get any community things done?
Actually, I accompanied Scott Marshall of Oath Accountability Project. He went out into a local park and started asking people about what freedom meant to them. And I was live streaming for him, and talked to a few people. Actually, talked to him about this show as well. But there were some really interesting takes on what people were, previously thinking, or just the fact that they started to agree with us.
We will be right back with more of that, and our top stories of the night. Our conversation about violence in activism. Is it ever acceptable? We'll be right back with more Cop Block Radio. All right.
Cool.
It's one of those good feeling nights.
Uh-huh.
The weather's nice. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's just perfect.
Yo, it was hot enough that today, for some reason, my pool filter shut off, and like by the time I woke up, my pool was green. I mean, like green, fucking like green. Well, anyways, went out, got chemicals, and I poured all that shit in. I went inside, came back out about 30 minutes later to this bright fucking blue pool. I'm like, yo, what the shit just happened? Like, and then I get closer to my pool, and I just hear it sizzling like it's a freaking like cup of Sprite and ice.
It was eating up all that algae.
Yeah, dude, it was just fucking its
I hope you
dead
didn't
up.
get in that pool for at least an hour after that.
No, dude, I did not. I'm not getting in it today. I'll get into
Yeah.
it tomorrow.
You're supposed
I'm
to
not trying to fry my skin off.
shock.
Yeah, I shocked and algae hit it at the same time. Also didn't help either that I had to go somewhere and I started putting water in it and I forgot. So by the time I came home, like there was just water leaking out the sides of my pool. I was like, oh, cool, that's awesome. Now my pool has this really nice, interesting little lean to it. So
Right.
gonna have to put some sandbags on it.
You guys want to talk or should I play some commercial?
Go ahead and play some commercial.
FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. You'll likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same great prices, and LRN gets a cut. Please do your online shopping at shop.lrn.fm.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
We're back.
Yes, we are.
This is Severin Freeman from Lehigh Valley Cop Block.
This is Matt of Carbon County Cop Block.
Rick Gonzalez, Allentown Cop Block.
What's up, Rick?
Not much. Just here, relaxing, enjoying life.
So, Rick's
What's that?
Those of you that don't know, Rick is always here. When we're on the air and he is not on the air, he's behind the scenes watching and supporting. And
absolutely, Rick is the man. Also, you could also, find Rick on Monday nights. He's over on the YouTube channel for Cop Blast Podcast. So if you want to see more of Rick and his beautiful face, you can check him out over there.
And always on Allentown Cop Block. Hey, Rick, you got news for us, don't you? There's something happening soon, isn't there?
Yeah, we got some some events coming up. We got one coming up Thursday to Saturday. I believe I think Friday we're heading over to your city hall area in Bethlehem to do some protests.
Rick set up a 3-day long event for cop blockers. You know, they always ask for events, so Rick had to deliver.
Yeah.
3 days of craziness. We're going to start out in Allentown on day 1, meet up and do some cop blocking and a little protest. Day 2, we're going to come to my town of Bethlehem, do another little protest and some cop blocking. We're going to protest outside above my local police department. And then the third day, you guys are meeting up for a meetup, right?
Yeah, I believe so. We haven't hammered out all the details yet, but
I don't know if I'm going to be able to make the third day. I'm going to try, but I don't know if I can.
Yeah, I know it would be really nice. Another thing that we were just talking about before we went on air, and I think we're going to try to do, is a little bit north of me, it seems that the show Cops is filming a town called Hazleton. And with these like little police scanners that Severin and Rick just picked up, it'd be awesome to head up there and kind of hear what the hell they're doing and maybe roll in on cops being filmed by cops.
If we made the show Cops,
that'd be amazing.
I would just have to hang it up that night. Like, hang up the cop blocking jacket. It's done. We won, guys.
Yep.
Just take my standing ovation and walk away with my hands up. We got this. That'd be like the best thing ever.
Give it to Judd Nelson.
Yeah. If you're in the Pennsylvania area and you want to come out and meet some cop blockers, join in some festivities, this is what it's going to be all about. I mean, if all you want to do is come out and meet us, that's fine. If you want to join and see what it's all about, this is your opportunity. Don't give me a chance.
So for more information on that, head over to Allentown Cop Block on Facebook and hit the events tab, and it will tell you exactly what time everything's running and where it's running at. As things are going on throughout the 3 days, people will be updating the site of where people are and what's going on. So if you want to get connected and stay connected, just go ahead and head on over there and make sure that you stay tuned.
So speaking of putting your hands up and just taking your bow, taking your win, guys, I got to talk trash. I got to talk trash, especially to Matt. Okay, so last week I was the little man down. It was Matt and Brian against me in a conversation about was Brett Sanders' penny video. Brett Sanders is an activist that paid $220 worth of a ticket in pennies, dumped them upside down, and walked out like a boss. Well, there was a lot of haters on this video, including many cop blockers. I took the position of supporting this from the moment I saw it. I laughed my ass off. I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I've done a penny video, and I was dwarfed by his experience. So I just need to take this moment to say Brett Sanders has made every single news station across the entire country, and I believe internationally, because NBC picked it up, and they go everywhere. So NBC, ABC,
Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly, the Info Network, every alternative media station. There is not one place that I have. There's not 1 hour that I've scrolled through social media and not seen another link to this man's video. He has officially been recognized across the country in all mainstream media and alternative media because of that video.
Okay, but here, let me ask you this though.
I gotta gloat a little bit because
No. I'm sorry, I gotta tear the wall down. So let me ask you this. So you're saying just because he got media attention that validates what he did? Because right there, you're sitting there and you're saying that validates the fact that, oh, because Bill Cosby's getting a whole bunch of media attention because he handed off some pills means that his whole point is validated. That's like sitting there and saying that just because the Kardashians are on the fucking news, entertainment, and everything.
It needs to be noticed for him to be any kind of effective. If an activist can work 365 days a year, if nobody pays any attention, it doesn't freaking matter. Now, once somebody notices what's happening, then it picks up.
Yeah, but did they notice? But they didn't notice why. But you're still missing the point, Severin. They're not paying attention to it because of why he had to pay it. They're paying attention to the way he paid it. So because of that, that's not actually getting the message across. That's just people going like, oh shit, that's entertaining. That is on the same level as the chick in the Chewbacca mask. That is exactly what that is.
There are so many mainstream people who didn't think that they could do this in the past that are now going to do this. There are so many people, people that are going to fight now that were not going to fight before seeing that video, that thought paying a ticket needed to be done in orderly fashion, and Brett Sanders just flipped that on its head and said, no, if you're going to pay, make it hard. And made everyone realize that not only is it legal, but it's your duty. If you want to resist, resist.
All he did was make sure that if people go ahead and start doing this all the time, all they're going to do is just put a fucking coin counting machine right there and make you put all your coins in the coin counting machine. Has to be exact, and then you can fucking hand the slip over to them and show that you've paid your ticket.
I don't think they're going to. I think we're going to see legislation within the next year saying you can't pay in pennies.
There's no way that they can sit there and deny an American currency. There's no way they can deny American currency.
To me, everybody was saying it was a waste of time. Not everybody. The haters were saying it was a waste of time. It was useless. It was just a stupid video. It was pointless, and then it caught all this attention. I just felt like I needed to gloat a little and bring that in because I took the position of supporting this from the beginning. I supported it before it was cool.
You can support it as much as you want. I still don't see that it made its point.
I got a ticket coming up, and best believe that something's going down.
Well, I mean, go nuts, but at this point, even though he wasn't even the person to originate it, now from now on, it's just going to be like, oh, they Brett Sanders him. So, I mean, if you're going to do it, you got to think of something else.
Do it right. I wanted to dump my pennies on the counter. I had no balls. I handed it to them in a bag because I had no balls once I finally got to that counter, and neither did 90% of the videos that I've seen. They peacefully put them on the counter. I have never seen it done to that degree where they dump out all of those pennies unwrapped right on the counter and walk out.
I mean, yeah, I'll give him the.
What all of us wanted to do that made a penny video. We all wanted to take it to that level, and we just kind of had no balls, and it was like, it's going to be a waste of time because they're going to jail us and charge us twice as much. That's what my thought was when I wanted to dump my pennies.
Yeah.
So I just handed them to her in a bag, just smiling because it was a bag full of pennies. But we're going to be coming right back from the break with plenty more topics. It's not just Brett Sanders and pennies tonight, guys.
Round two.
We'll be right back with more Cop Block Radio. It's a good night.
Fuck yeah.
I'm feeling good tonight. You're rubbing off on me, dude. No, but in all seriousness, how can you not support Brett Sanders and his damn pennies, dude?
Okay, it's not that hard because. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, looks from like the haha, like he's the class clown fucking standpoint. Yeah, it's awesome. He fucking did something that's like holy shit. Nobody's doing it to his level.
Just look at it from the point of view that he gained the money that he paid back because of the video alone. Because he made a video and took the time to edit and do all that. He put work into a good video, and his reward, his payment for that video, is more than what he had to give to make the video.
Right, but I mean, I get your point. I just don't see that you're seeing mine. It's just that I don't see how people aren't getting why he did it. They're just getting that he did it. So it's not getting the right kind of attention. So even if
he did it.
You get why he did it. I get why he did it. Severin gets why he did it. But the chick down the street who's working at Arby's doesn't pay shit attention to anything Cop Block, and is just scrolling through her news feed and just sees a guy walk into somewhere with a box that says extortion money and dumps it on there. She's gonna be like, haha, dude, this guy's an asshole. She's not gonna be like, yo, what was his motivation? What made him do that?
I'll be right back. I gotta grab a drink.
Damn cigarettes.
I just gotta say, I really am against the whole mindset that the woman behind the counter isn't guilty of anything. Are you there still, Matt?
Yeah, I'm here, bud.
All right. I reject the idea that she didn't do anything, and I don't think that woman realizes enough days of the week the impact of what she does to people.
But you gotta understand. She's
What does she do to people? She collects their money.
She collects the.
But yeah, but you know,
Okay,
that's not her fault. She has no control over that.
Now, if you got offered a job tomorrow, Rick, paying you $1,000 a week, but you had to go take poor people's houses from them.
Hey, at the end of the day, if it pays my water bill, my rent, my fucking car insurance, and the responsibility that I have in my house, then I got no choice if that's the only work that I have at the moment.
I wouldn't take the job. I would have to morally stand up and say, look, every day I'm looking at people stealing them.
What do you think?
Like, okay,
if you had a job, if they called you up,
it went to a different level there. Now, see, you're going the morality of going up to somebody and stripping them from their homes. Like, this is not what this lady's doing. This lady is legitimately, it's a horrible example.
That's what she does.
Rich people don't worry about it. She takes money from poor people, but fucking so does giant food stores. So we're supposed to be pissed off at every single person who works on a register because they accept money from old people. Because you know what?
The money at a register is being given willingly in exchange for a product. The money at that window is being taken in exchange for nothing.
You think I agree with the fact of why they're taking it? No, I don't agree with that fact at all. Now, I'm not a fucking statist. Like, I think it's bullshit that's happening. But to sit there and say that the woman who accepts the money is at such a complete fault is bullshit, dude. Like, that's one of those blatant statements.
She's guilty too. That's what I'm saying. She's guilty
of what? Doing a 9 to 5?
Well, we're back. Just another example of why, if you listen on LRN.FM, you should come check out the YouTube stream and see all of our banter in between the commercial breaks, because we just had a good one.
Absolutely.
Our screens were off, and I was just like biting my tongue, like, no, I can't. Matt, get back on here. We got to do this right now.
Oh man, yeah, we're having a good one tonight. So,
we're not going to fill up the whole show with this penny stuff. We are going to move on.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to move on and go and talk about the Eric Harris shooting. Now, do you remember what happened there?
The name sounds very familiar. Is he the one that was running in the park from the cop?
Basically, yeah. Earlier in the year, he had been caught selling a 9mm and ammunition to an undercover, right? So he was a part of a sting, and when they went to go get him, he turned hightail and ran. So 74-year-old Officer Robert Bates decides to just start shooting at him, and
we talked about this a few weeks back. Is this the same case where that officer?
I think the story, it happened. It wasn't too long ago, but I do remember the story. They shot him, and
isn't this the case where the guy couldn't pass his basic exams, and the department was lying for him to help cover up that because he was old and he couldn't pass the physical?
Yeah, I do believe so, and this is also the same one where Eric Harris was saying, he shot me, oh my God, I'm losing my breath, and an officer responded to him, fuck your breath, shut the fuck up. So, basically saying to him, you shouldn't have ran, as they had their knee on the back of his neck after they had just shot. So, and then he gets tased, but, it's unreal. Well, anyways, because of this, justice was found. Not a lot of it, but a little bit. Officer Bates was sentenced to 4 years upstate, so obviously he's going to do 2 and be out with good behavior. So it's not the world's best, but at the same time, being a 74-year-old and a cop going into the state system, he's going to have a tough fucking road ahead. So, I still don't think enough justice was even close to served here.
If I cut somebody down running away from me, I don't care what they just did. I would be going to prison for the rest of my life.
Right. He basically got what's equivalent to involuntary manslaughter, and not even full-on involuntary manslaughter. Being out in 2.5 years for ending somebody's life, Like, I know a guy who was at a party and basically dude came to his woman, he pushed the guy, dude fell, hit his head on a rock. He's doing 9 to 18. So it's like there's no way.
Yeah, I grew up talking about messed up cases. I grew up with a kid that was like 5 years younger than me. He was a real small, little, petite, like guy, and I hear through the grapevine he got sentenced to 25 to life for a car accident.
Oh damn.
He was driving his Trans Am and going very fast, and he went around a turn and lost it and hit somebody head on and killed somebody.
Damn.
And yeah, he's serving 25 to life. He wasn't even drunk, dude. It's not even like it was a bad thing like that. Like he's out now. He got out in like 10 years, but it's not. It's no joke. Like you get
no, and that's the thing. Like those type of things happen, but then the second you're wearing a badge, they're like, oh, you know what? 2.5 years. He's old and he's given us a lot of time. We still have to punish you.
We don't know how hard their job is, man.
No, we're just
like
they're so
why don't we
strict.
go to the academy and try it? We don't know what it's like. We don't know their life. It's so hard. They gotta keep people to get by.
Well, I know that I've definitely in my life been in situations that other people would have called the cops for and handled it myself, where I stopped somebody from getting hurt and I wasn't armed, and yet the situation ended without cops being involved. Yet somebody came at me with a weapon. So no fists were thrown, anything like that. The whole situation got talked down, which means that if I can do it on the streets with somebody I had never even met in my life, they should be able to do it a hell of a lot more than they do, but they resort to the fact that they have all these toys on the side of their hip that they would much, much rather use that because it's easier, and they have, people who have their back for pulling out the
easier. It's easier to talk to somebody and reason with somebody. It's a lot harder to initiate for. It's not easier. They just get excited. They got toys on their hip and they want to play. That's all it comes down to. They got the training to use these weapons, and they want to use them.
Yeah. Wow, that scared the crap out of me. So I'm sitting here. I'm in my studio, and there across from me is a stairwell that has a window in it, and literally the screen just came in through the window and then tumbled down my stairs. Like I'm sitting here, I just watched the screen come.
Was it your dog?
No, dude, this is in a completely different part of the house where the dog doesn't come.
Oh, maybe it's a raccoon. You better go check that out.
No, dude, that's on the second story. Like it's way too high to be for the raccoon.
The wind. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So what else do we? Anything else on that, Eric Harris?
Well, I mean, I think we kind of got where our mindsets were for that. He should have definitely been sentenced to a lot more than what he was. It just seems like it was another slap on the wrist. We have to do it to save face. They'll probably, get paid off realistically in a lawsuit that's really kind, in the government's eyes, but will never bring their family back. And at the end of the day, it's just, the fuck barrel continues. So.
Cop will still stay on duty. That's all that matters. He still gets paid.
No, he's not getting paid. He's doing 4 years, man.
Yeah, but did he get to collect his retirement?
Honestly, nothing has been said about that as of now, but I don't think that he retired prior to being prosecuted. So if that's the case and they let him go, he loses his pension.
Well, I got another story out of Detroit.
Oh yeah, let's hear about it.
Yeah.
Dirty D.
Another case where they don't care that we have animals that we love.
The
cops in Detroit stormed through a house executing dogs during a search for weed.
Wait, did you say dogs as in multiple?
Multiple. There were 3 dogs in the house. They went from room to room and killed these dogs one at a time.
So, does it say what kind of dogs they were? I mean, I'm just questioning. They were pit bulls?
Yeah.
That's such horse shit.
According to the lawsuit, the The man was the only man at the house when the cops knocked on the door. The rest of the family was not there. He said, "Can I please put my dogs down in the basement?" after hearing the knock.
And they turned around and they burst in and fucking take the lives of this man's animals to search for a plant.
Yep.
That's what I'm getting. This man lost what I mean, okay. My animals are extensions of my family. And when you turn around, and some people, they are all they have.
I'm reading this. It's more twisted than them barging in and shooting them anyway. He put the dogs in the basement, and they wanted to get down in the basement, so they broke down the barrier for the dogs and went down there and shot these dogs at point-blank range. They executed these dogs for no reason.
God damn, I hate cops.
The dogs were not barking or attacking, the man said. And the dog died in a pool of blood in the corner.
I mean, that's such bullshit.
The officer said, pointing to the other dog. The cop laughed and said, "Did you see that? It was a good one." And then said to the man, "I should have killed you too." Or to the... Oh, man.
Wow, that's insane.
Well, hopefully he does get a lawsuit settlement out of this. But it's not much consolation. I mean, your entire life has just been flipped upside down, and your beloved animals are dead. There's no coming back from that. You're gonna remember that for the rest of your life. Your life is not gonna be the same after an experience like that. Well, we'll be right back with more Cop Block Radio. I can't imagine, dude.
Oh, dude, I would have lost it if
you got a dog. Oh man.
Yeah, dude.
Like, they training them to be fucking killers? What they training these fucking people at the academy to become killers?
They don't ever get in trouble for killing an animal, so it's their go-to now.
But if it was a fucking canine, somebody would get fucking 30 to 40 years for it.
If I punch their dog while it's biting my arm, I'm gonna get 30 years for assaulting a police officer. But they can just walk in and execute my dogs that were put away in a safe place.
Fucking cowards.
Ugh.
Scumbags.
Man, I've seen John Wayne go nuts for less. That's all I'm saying.
I'll be right back. Do you want me to play commercials?
Sure.
Themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Wednesday, gold is $1 lower at $1,215 per ounce. Silver is even at $16.04 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $542 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping customers with buying and selling physical precious metals for nearly 40 years. How can we help you? Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
The three most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider,
moving to New Hampshire.
freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free.
I want to get my lawsuit.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
What's up?
What's
Yo.
up? How's it going, guys?
Nothing, just chilling, man. Just relaxing.
Doing good, man. So this is Matt of Carbon County Cop Block.
Severn Lehigh Valley Cop Block.
Rick Gonzalez, Allentown Cop Block.
Rick, were you just saying you're moving to the Shire?
Just thinking about it.
I'll miss you. I don't know what I'm gonna do without my right hand man. We got a crew going. Come on, man. We got to build it. So,
anyways,
I want to talk about a story that I had covered a while back out of Kansas, but it just came back across my media feed and became interesting again. So, the police chief in Valley Falls, Kansas, his name is Bronson Campbell. I got a report maybe 6 months ago that was sent to me that I published. It was a story, like a nightmare story involving this cop, where he harassed somebody and tried to get them arrested to keep them from getting kids, and like just a crazy, crazy story that I almost didn't believe because it was so just so bizarre. And then, after I published it, numerous other people started coming forward with similar stories involving this cop. So it was one of these cases where it's like, how is this guy still on duty? I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Well, his last police department closed down because of all the lawsuits. After they decided that they were just too broke and the department was too small to handle it, so they closed down, and they appointed him police chief of this new town.
Oh, that was a great idea. You know, in the history of shit ideas, I think this one might be high on it.
It gets better. This guy is like the most hated guy in this town. All social media goes crazy every time his name is mentioned with all the people that hate him. And he now just started a campaign. He's running for sheriff of his.
Of course he is.
And
unbelievable.
And his first move is to put out a public statement calling all the people who dislike him and all the people that are going to come forward, saying all these crazy stories. They're all just a bunch of criminals who don't like the way I do things. And just really acting like a pompous ass in his statement. But he goes on to say, well, the reason I'm addressing all this is because I want to be an open and honest and transparent sheriff for you guys.
Man, and you know what? We get called out and said that, or told that we have a lot of bias towards the way that we describe cops, but if that is not the damn stereotype and a neat little itty bitty fucking man, I don't know what the fuck is.
Well, he just one-upped himself one more time in his open and transparent campaign. Come on, guys. He wants transparency. He says it right in his opening statement on his running for sheriff page. He's blocking anybody that posts about the lawsuits.
So wait.
This
He
stuff up,
wants transparency, but he's like, you can talk all you want, just not right here.
right?
Fuck you right here. This is my spot.
His public campaign being paid for by tax dollars, his own campaign that's a public entity, is censoring comments, and not just censoring comments, but deleting and blocking people who say anything. I confirm this because I commented.
Yeah, isn't Homeboy required to keep that up?
Yeah, it's actually we talked about this before on the show.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So I called him today, and his little rinky-dink police department, the chief of police, just to show you how small it is, the chief of police is the one that answers the phone.
Wow.
True story, not lying, guys.
Thank you for calling Podunk, Kansas.
I had this long statement prepared for his voicemail, and he says,
"Fuck you right the fuck off guard with the answer."
Campbell, and he says, "Speaking." Like,
I would have been like, no shit.
Yeah. I was just like, I just told him, I'm a member of the media. I'm calling for a comment on your censorship of your current campaign. He had no answer. I informed him of the law. He had no answer. He said he was playing real professional, and he's like, well, listen, I'm actually on the clock right now, and I'm forbidden by law to talk about my sheriff campaign while I'm on the tax dollars clock, which is bullshit. I think it's total bullshit. But anyway, he said he can't answer the questions, and he gave me a phone number to call him back at it at a later time. So I think I got his personal phone number, guys.
Shit, give him a call. It's only fucking 8 o'clock out there.
I meant to call him on the air and call him out on this stuff and see what he says. But, I'm going to save that one for a rainy day. I'm going to see if he opens his page back up by tomorrow. And if he does.
If not, let's give him a call next week.
Yeah, if he doesn't, well, then there's other ways people can reach you to let them know your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I might, as a member of the media, be obligated to allow them their First Amendment rights by leaking this information. Oh, I'm such a dick, guys. No, I've never leaked a personal phone number. That is one thing that I wouldn't want it done to me, and the cops all have my number, so I'm kind of afraid if I ever did it, they would do it.
Man, I'm telling you, I bet your ass he just gave you the phone number to his campaign manager. That's it. Some rinky-ass little town, so it's probably just his cousin Jimmy.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, it's pretty funny, though, because on his sheriff page, there's 2 people cheering for him, and one is his son and one is his wife.
He's like, hey, I need a whole bunch of people to show up today. I got a camera shoot. Can you guys come and show me support? And they showed up, and he was just like, guess we're not using the wide-angle lens.
Yeah, exactly. He has, no kidding, in this group that has been going on for a few weeks now since he announced his campaign, it has 52 supporters.
Yeah, but you got to also look and see what the size of this town is.
That's true, because if the chief of police answers the phone, there might be 52 people in town.
He might be the only one that lives in town.
Yeah, like...
Well, I've been in contact with the victims, and there's still ongoing lawsuits, and it's just a big joke. Like, this guy is never going to get elected. The current sheriff apparently is, like, really liked. But it's just, this just goes to show you the disconnect in reality that these cops have. He
dude.
does not believe, hate it.
You called him, and he is currently the chief of police in Enterprise, Kansas. Enterprise, Kansas, as of 2013, the census in this town was 834 people.
Oh, I'm sorry. Enterprise, Kansas is the one that closed. They're the one.
Okay, what's the new one?
The new one is Valley Falls, Kansas. 800 people as a population. Why would they even have?
Okay, this isn't much better. 1,159 people.
Wow.
Yeah, so no wonder why he answered the phone, because it's him and like 2 other people, and they're probably all related and share the same service piece.
Wow.
That's a 1-car town.
I worry, like, for these victims, that if this guy got into some kind of office of power, what kind of damage he would do to these people. His family's very vocal on social media. You should see the vulgar things that they're saying to the victims.
Honestly, that's going to be like one of those towns that people roll into, and they're not from around there, and the second they realize that everything is fucked up, they're like, oh shit, we've been here too long, we gotta go. Like, the only people going to be there anymore.
Kindly to your kind around here.
We got ourselves some city folk. don't take kindly to you.
I'm afraid for people.
Yo,
But
but I've been in some small ass places in Kansas, and it doesn't surprise me that a story like that comes out of there.
I did put it up on the Cop Block Radio Show page, his sheriff campaign. If you feel like going there and leaving a comment, go for it. It's I think it's a real joke that this guy thinks he's running for top office of protecting and serving our rights, and he tries to censor that page. Wow, I'm speechless.
It's because he never thought anybody would pay shit attention to it because it's coming out of a town with 1,000 people. It's like in a country of 300 million people, he's like, what? Who the hell cares about us little 1,000 in some little rural ass fucking plains in Kansas?
Well, how about a quick update on another story, guys, before we cut to a break? Michael Schlager, you remember him?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He is now up for the death penalty.
Oh?
Fucking awesome. Well,
Oh, I mean,
I don't condone violence.
hold up though. Let me
believe
just ask
that-
a question. Let me ask a question real quick before we go any further on that. Severin, would you like to give a really quick update to everybody about Michael Schlager, for those who might not remember?
I'm pulling up the story now. We're cutting to a commercial break. We're going to be back on the half. We'll give you our update quick on that story, and then we'll have our conversation when we come back from our long commercial break of Cop Block Radio.
Cop Block Radio.
All right, we're out.
Cool.
You put me on the spot. I didn't have the story up, so I didn't.
Yeah, I thought you had that shit. I'm sorry. Yeah, dude. I was trying to keep shit rolling, and it just... I knew where I was going with it. I was just hoping to
I know the
that up.
story. Like I know we've talked about it 10 times, but we talk about 50 stories a month, so it's hard to remember the exact details.
Trust me, I'm not going to say anything bad because I can...
Scott, while he was running away. Another guy running away.
What was that?
Michael Schlager is the guy that shot Walter Scott on film while he was running away.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, the Nazi cop.
The white dude you were gonna say. I heard that. I heard that you would be like the white dude. Yeah. I mean, you look at him though, and it's like he is the white dude.
He's the one that cried too when they read his original sentence.
Of course he cried. Look at that guy. I mean, just look at that picture. That is a guy who is not about to survive in state prison.
He's gonna be in protective custody the whole time.
Protective custody anyway.
Well, yeah, if he's getting the death penalty, he's on death row. He's in solitary till he goes down.
Well, he just came up for that. But
yet
they're charging him federally now, and that falls under possibly death penalty charges. You know,
I prefer him to get life.
But yet you go to Detroit, and dude gets 2.5.
They're not going to get no death penalty.
No, but they're definitely gonna tack his ass to the wall.
I hope he gets life.
If they're going, he probably will, because if they're going for the death penalty, they're not going to just bump that down to 2.5 to 5.
No, they said it says could be eligible under his current federal charges. That means the maximum sentence probably involves that.
Okay. All right, I'll be back in a few. All right.
All right, I'm gonna play some commercials. We got a long break here.
All right.
$0.01 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,217 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $540. Antiwar.com reports a day after announcing their final assault on the Islamic State-held city of Fallujah, Iraqi troops have been stalled at the southern gates in the face of major resistance from the Islamic State forces. Unlike previous defenses, there was no word of the Islamic State using suicide attacks, and rather faced the Iraqi military heavily armed in a gun battle. The commander of the offensive, Lieutenant General Abdel Wahab al-Saadi, was as upbeat as ever, presenting the fight as the Iraqi forces repeling the Islamic State's attack on the outside of the city and claiming to have killed 75 the Islamic State fighters in the process. He offered no details on casualties on the Iraqi military side. Other Iraqi military officials told a different story, saying that the Islamic State forces are heavily dug in trenches and tunnels around the city outskirts and keeping Iraqi troops and affiliated militias at a distance in the ongoing offensive. U.S. officials have conceded that they believe Fallujah will not only be a long, difficult fight for the Iraqi military, but that the troops will likely face hostility from the civilian population as well, as the overwhelmingly Sunni Arab city is averse to being liberated by the Shiite-dominated military. Iraqi officials had presented territorial gains around the city's suburbs as major wins, but those came largely without resistance. The Islamic State appears to have decided that the city would be more readily defended at the city level instead of in the more rural outskirts. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking a root every episode. UPI reports the U.S. Supreme Court on Tuesday denied a request by a Louisiana inmate convicted of murder to decide whether the death penalty is unconstitutional. 2 of the 8 justices, Stephen Breyer and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, agreed to consider the question. It takes 4 justices to take a case, and the court has shortened 1 justice since the death of Antonin Scalia in February. Breyer wrote that Lamondre Tucker may well have received the death penalty not because of the comparative egregiousness of his crime, but because of an arbitrary feature of his case, namely geography. Breyer noted that the parish containing Shreveport imposes almost half the death sentences in Louisiana, even though it accounts for 5% of the state's population and 5% of its homicides. In January, the Supreme Court denied an appeal by Shonda Walter of her death sentence from 2003. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports General Mills Incorporated on Tuesday issued a voluntary recall of about 10 million pounds of flour, saying it was working with health officials to investigate an outbreak of E. coli that had sickened 38 people in 20 states. The bacteria strain behind the outbreak had not been found in any of General Mills' Gold Medal, Wandra, and Signature Kitchen flours or their manufacturing plant, according to the company. Consumers have not contacted it directly to report any illness, according to the Minneapolis-based company. General Mills issued a statement saying out of an abundance of caution, a voluntary recall is being made. U.S. and state health authorities are probing an outbreak of E. coli 0121 from December 21st to May 3rd. The potentially deadly strain can cause bloody diarrhea and dehydration, mostly among the elderly, very young children, and people with weak immune systems. General Mills said the CDC found that about half of the 38 sickened people reported cooking with flour before becoming ill. Kashi, owned by General Mills' rival Kellogg, also announced a recall of one variety of its granola and granola bars on Tuesday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The zebra of the plains is perpetually hunted by a myriad of merciless predators. With no purpose other than to feed monsters, the zebra spends its entire life standing around awaiting a violent death. They are nature's ultimate prey. The zebra paces the earth, patiently going through the motions of life, knowing that at any moment it will end in a sudden shock of pain and brutality. With its black and white stripes serving as an ostentatious beacon to any nearby predators, the zebra whiles away its time before gruesome elimination. Zebra wait on the pantry shelf that is the African plain before something finds it and, at last, remembers to eat it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Whoa!
We are back.
Yes, we are.
I am Matt of Carbon County Cop Block.
I'm Severin Freeman from Lehigh Valley Cop Block.
Rick Gonzalez, Allentown Cop Block. What's going on?
What's good?
Guys, before the break, we were actually talking about Michael Slager and
Yes,
the fact that he is facing federal charges and potentially the death penalty. Now, that's is that something that's well written, or is that something that you think that he might actually get? But before we before we jump into that, though, before we went to break, we were trying to remember who Michael Slager was. Now, it was just we were just trying to figure out exactly 100% the story to be able to tell you guys. And Severin, I believe you pulled that up and took a look at it.
Yeah, I this is like one of the worst egregious cases that I always forget who it is when I first hear it. But it's the one where the black guy was running away from the cop in the park, and he gets shot in the back twice.
Well, no, didn't this happen in a what is it? This happened in a parking lot of like an AutoZone, right?
Yeah, not in the park. I'm sorry. He was running away from the cop.
Yeah.
In an open area, and he was shot twice.
In the back.
In the back. Well,
yeah.
Now, Officer Schlager, is facing a possible death penalty charge because not only was he charged and convicted criminally, but he's now going to be federally charged and convicted probably because the feds thought that this was so egregious that they had to go after him too.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm actually sitting here watching this right now, and as I'm remembering this situation, I don't see where he thought that this was the action he should have been taken. And it was actually really good that the man behind the camera who shot this actually shot what went down, because you're right, he did flee, and then when he fled from his car, which was parked at the parking lot of the AutoZone, it did end up in a park, and that's when I think his name was Feeden Santana, if I remember this right, but he caught this on camera as he was passing by, so props to him for actually getting this on record, but it's just insane the video itself, because all it shows is that he turns and he goes to run and and the guy gets shot several times in the back, but then later on in the video, if you watch closer, it looks like he takes a piece and drops it next to him, realizes he's on camera, and picks that shit back up.
Well, now
it was his taser.
There's a pretty big statement that was made from the attorney for the Scott family, and he says, "This is historic. What happened today is the federal government saying it stops now. Police brutality stops now." What do you think of that? Do you think this is all just a show and it's all BS because this is one of the biggest cases that blew up nationally? Or do you really think that the federal government is going to make a stand if the local government will not?
I don't know. It all kind of seems like it's going to end up being a big huff and puff act where they will turn around and make an example of one while letting several get by. Yeah, it's just one of those things that they're like, well, sorry, dude, like, you're part of the Brotherhood and everything, but you knew that if you did something that got big enough, you were gonna have to bite the bullet. But don't worry, we're not gonna fuck you. We're just gonna have to make it seem like we did.
They got to throw us like 1 or 2 bones a year that
Yeah.
sink our teeth into where we feel some justice was done, so that they could sneak all those little ones under the rug.
Yep, because they're sitting back and like, fuck, we totally should have sent Zimmerman's ass to jail, but so they're like, let's hope we don't get another Zimmerman. Let's maybe send him to jail for a little bit.
Well, there's another update that I want to touch on in this segment.
Okay.
And now I can't scroll because my screen's frozen.
Well, that's not good.
No, it's not. I don't know what's going on here.
What was the name of the story? Oh, I see it. The Oakland police, the underage
There we
scandal.
go. I'm unfrozen. My browser sucks lately. I don't know why it does that. It freezes like every couple minutes for a minute, and then it unfreezes.
That's because you use Firefox, and Firefox is fucking horrible.
No, I'm actually using Google Chrome.
I don't believe you, because Google Chrome doesn't ever do me dirty like that.
Google Chrome is the only browser on my computer that does me dirty like this. And I have to use it for our Hangouts because it flows better for the Hangout. But anyway, a few weeks ago, Cop Block reported on a story about Oakland Police Department and their gang-style sexual encounter with a young underage girl. The whole department ran a train on this girl, and she willingly participated. Let's not act like this was some kind of forced thing. She was all about this, but turns out she's underage. Some of the officers have quit. Some of the officers are facing charges.
Well, don't forget this all started off with a man named Brendan O'Brien, and he actually was one of the first officers to engage sexually with her, and basically they were having a relationship, and then she just started, like, fuck it, I'm just gonna sleep with all of them. Drove this dude up the wall and insane. He ends up hanging himself, and the only reason any of this comes out is because he mentions it all and dimes everybody out in his suicide note. Now the whole situation is blowing into a shitstorm, and you have 2 of these guys who have just been like, you know what, fuck it, peace, we're out, and they're hightailing it and running because they don't want to be anywhere near it. And I won't be surprised if the other 2 don't follow pretty shortly.
I still hold to my prediction that one of these guys is going to stay on the police force and marry this girl, and it's going to be a happy story. The media will twist it into some happy story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know what? And you take a look at this girl. She's the one who likes to call her boyfriend daddy. Oh, it's my daddy. Fuck these people. Oh, they're going to get a reality show, and it's going to be on fucking TLC. I swear to God. Just wait for it.
Girl's just so nasty. I look at her picture, and I'm like, ew, there's no part of this that seems attractive to me. Like, I don't know. She just looks like that girl that we all knew in high school that you.
Somebody get me a bucket. I'm about to throw up.
Yeah, I can see this show now. It's going to be called, like, Coming Home to Dispatch, and it's just, you're
Remember
not
that
going to
girl
know
we
which.
all knew that all you had to do was give her a cigarette?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sit here and just fucking just downgrade a minor. I mean, still. Anyways, I don't want to sit here and just downgrade this girl for her decisions and whatnot. I just think it's ridiculous that these officers, who once again they take an oath, have had to have encountered people who they arrested for doing something that was against the law sexually, where it might have been like a boyfriend and girlfriend, but parents didn't like how old the boyfriend was because he was 18 and she was 16, and they were like, no, fuck that. But then these officers would turn around and go and arrest this kid and put him through some miserable shit, but then they have no problem taking their hypocritical asses and going down and basically playing fucking bang bus on this girl's on one of their own's daughter. Like, that just shows you the kind of people who pick up this profession. They're hypocritical asshats.
They're bros.
Yeah, they're bros, dude. Like
they're all total bros.
Yeah, dude, that is such a bro move. Oh my God, it's so true.
No,
with
bro.
Their fucking with their fucking Steve haircuts. Ugh.
They're the oh man. The preppy, nerdy kids in high school grew up to carry guns and badges.
I know.
And call
I
it,
mean, there's that meme that,
weights and bang chicks.
yeah, there's this meme that goes around Facebook, and it's like, be careful who you make fun of in middle school. And it's like, yo, be careful who you didn't befriend, because those really weird, awkward fucking people that everybody's making fun of are the ones who's going to be holding guns and trying to keep you accountable. And if they couldn't even keep account of their own lives at that point, what makes you think that they're qualified to be walking around controlling other people's lives with a fucking gun? They're not.
Dude, you just perfectly timed the word accountable as we cut out to a commercial break. But I got it like perfect to the listeners, like you planned it.
Awesome.
As you said the word accountable, it cut out.
Awesome.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yep, I'm going to bring Scott in.
Bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
Here, turn that off.
Impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You
Turn
changed
that off, you son of a bitch.
very important issues years ago.
To random people.
So I'm going to mute Severin. I hope he realizes that. Can you still hear me, Rick?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Mr. Marshall, what's up?
How's it going, man?
Good, how are you?
I'm alright. Can you hear me alright?
Yeah, looking good. You're a little fuzzy, but other than that...
A little fuzzy. Let's see here. Let's come over and see if...
Throwing back
Check.
to the Yeah, you
Check.
look good. Oh, wow, no, way too loud, way too loud. That's the devil.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Lower.
Lower. I don't know how to make it go lower.
Yeah, you're gonna sound like you're screaming a
Check
freaking
1 2.
soccer game. That's a little better.
Let's see here. I can.
Man, you know, with the hat, you really can't read what it is, and then Trump over the side of your head, it looks like you're a Trump supporter. I'm sorry, but you should really lose the hat, or people are gonna think you support Trump. So, Scott, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, cool. You understand what the topic is?
Sort of. You kind of just ran it by me a little bit.
Okay, so basically, it's we're gonna discuss the whole topic of violence inside of activism, and is it effective or is it a hindrance? So basically, we're gonna address those apple to apple, or a few bad apple motherfuckers. Because Severin is on the side that he thinks, you know, he's completely opposite of our standpoint here.
Do I look any better?
Much better hat.
I mean, does the picture look any better?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Use my cloth on it.
Okay, we're coming back in 1 minute. I don't know if Severin still realizes that he's on mute.
I know Dio is free. I'm gonna. How's that?
Much better. There you go. Completely redressed you. Severin, we can't hear you. I don't know if anybody can. So, this is the second half of Cop Block Radio. Welcome back. This is Matt of Carbon County Cop Block.
I am Scott Marshall of the Earth Accountability Project.
Rick Gonzalez of Allentown Cop Block.
And I think, unfortunately,
And we
Severn
still
is
cannot
having
hear Severin.
yeah, Severn is still having a little bit of technical difficulties over there on his side with his audio. So I don't know what he wants to do with that. Unfortunately, we can't hear him at all. Um, no, we can't. We can't hear you. Up, I kind of heard him.
My sound's being picked up here. I don't know.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, now we can hear you.
You're back.
Don't ever
Okay.
override my microphone.
All right. Well, okay. So this is Severin Freeman right there of Lehigh Valley Cop Block. So.
Oh man, I was panicking for a moment because I can't come out and come back in.
Yeah. So Scott, welcome to the show. So
How's
do you
it going? Thanks for having me.
So,
and we were actually
How's it
talking
going,
about
man?
you a little bit earlier, and what you were doing in Mauchunk Park there in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania this weekend. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
yeah, I was curious. I was watching the part where like everybody was pissed off and avoiding you, like the group of kids and stuff. I was telling you, Matt, while I was watching it, for you to go up and just confront those kids and see what their beef was. But did you get anybody that actually would talk to you?
Well, when we got out there, it kind of took a little bit for some of the people that were sitting around to kind of get their thoughts together, because it is a difficult question. Now, I thought Memorial Day, it was a nice day outside, and I thought, what better time to go than to go to this town that American flags everywhere, and just pose people a question: what does freedom mean to you? And I had a few people that a few people that would make little comments here or there, nothing really negative. One guy said, I don't know, because there is none, as he walked back past, and I was like, I kind of agree with that. But I had a couple people that actually came up and talked to me.
I was curious, were you guys like wearing cop block shirts or anything controversial on your appearance other than the sign?
I had a Batman shirt on, man.
Actually, no. I had my riot shirt on. It just says riot on it. I wouldn't consider that.
That's
like Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
The reason I ask is I was really confused why everybody seemed so hostile at that just simple question. It's like I saw the group of kids and it looked like they were all
because in sound, what does freedom mean to you sounds like a simple question, but when you really start thinking about it, it becomes a really, really hard question to answer, because freedom is also not only what's written into law, but what it means to you is a perception. So it's not only trying to figure out what freedom means to you within inside the boundaries of what has been set upon, unfortunately, inside of this society, but then also what it means to you if those didn't exist at all. And when you start thinking about that, it's kind of hard to answer that when it pops into your head and you've got 20 feet to make an answer. So I can kind of understand why some people were having an issue actually approaching and answering it, but the people who did stop definitely wanted to hear or say what it meant to them, but also wanted to hear what it meant to Scott and actually myself as well. So it was cool.
I just like that the question was being posed and it made people think. Obviously, even if they weren't engaging, people were forced to think out there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I would consider it a win. People were walking by, and I could see on a lot of people's faces. I could start to see the gears turn, and I could start to see them think, like, if I were going to answer that question, what would I say? But it's kind of, we were in a park, and there was a lot of people around, and it's kind of a busy area, so I could see why some people would be intimidated to come up and talk, and plus the camera with the tripod and the funny-looking 360 camera.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. When I see a interview situation looking like it's happening, I'm all about going up and talking. But I'm all about people hearing what I have to say too, as far as the state being a monopoly and us being victims of it. So anyway, let's roll into our question of the night. For our guest, we brought on Scott Marshall of the Oath Accountability Project for another point of view on this. It's tossed around a lot. We see it a lot in the comments. It's a topic that we don't discuss, though, really, other than the blanket, like, NAP principle, non-aggression principle, saying that violence is not okay. So my question that I have for everybody tonight is, when is it okay, if ever? When is it to the point where us people that have woken up and the rest of the country realize that the government isn't going anywhere without some kind of force, is it okay for us to initiate that force to make them leave now?
Why don't we start with Rick?
Okay, Rick.
I don't think violence solves anything. First of all, we're already seeing the violence right now in, overseas in the Middle East. Well, there's kids dying over for what? For what? They still fighting after all these years. Nothing's been accomplished by the violence. This is why I say violence don't solve nothing.
I agree with you on that point.
Well, how about let's hear what Scott has to say.
Well, as what I would say, let's get the obvious out of the way. Violence, I would say, is definitely okay only if you're physically being threatened, or your property itself is being significantly threatened.
So like castle.
I would say that. I would say, if somebody is threatening to make your house, unlivable, or something upon that nature in an immediate capacity, like somebody is, coming at your house with a flamethrower, then that's your only option, to hit them with a car. Then
what if somebody's in your parking lot with a baseball bat to your car?
I would say that would be an acceptable time to assert some violence. I would say only at an appropriate level to neutralize the situation. I mean, but you kind of have to make a personal decision.
I have a firearm in my home, and somebody's out in my parking lot destroying my car with a baseball bat. Am I permitted to go outside and pull that firearm, and if they act aggressive, pull the trigger?
I would say I wouldn't say a firearm, because a firearm is, in most cases, lethal force. They're not threatening you physically, so I would say, grab yourself a bat or a chain.
I'm not going to check them to see what level of violence they have. If they're aggressing toward me with something that looks like a weapon, I'm going for whatever my most deadly weapon is.
Well, hold on. The way that you said it, it almost sounded like you said you were in your house and somebody was in a parking lot messing with your car.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't say that you were in physical danger.
We'll come right back to more of this. We're about to cut to a commercial break. But I have a feeling this is going to go on for a little bit, because this is a good topic.
Yeah, I haven't even began to speak on this.
We'll be right back with more of this.
I know what I would do.
Don't blow your load.
Yeah, want me to play the commercial so we don't talk about it?
We'll be back with more Chappelle Show after this.
Chappelle Show. Chappelle Show. Woo! Better not bring your kid.
What the hell? Why did he have to do that? He went nuts. That was like the funniest damn show on television.
Well, the reason that he did that is because he had a bunch of executives coming to him, white executives telling him to not say the N-word and trying to control him, and he walked away from $50 million because he said it wasn't worth it.
That's crazy.
I mean, he also said he got too famous too quick. Like, he would be walking down the street with his kid, and somebody would pop out of the bushes
and be
like, "I'm Rick James, bitch," and he's like, "I'm with my kids, man."
It overwhelmed him. He wasn't prepared for the level of fame that he received right away.
Well, shit, I don't think anybody would be.
He was. If he ever came back with a show, everybody would watch it.
It would never be the same.
I mean, even comedians, even top.
The black white supremacists. I don't think I've ever laughed that hard when I first saw that.
Like I was watching the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and even he said that Chappelle's show was like the best sketch comedy show that there ever was. Like better than SNL, better than all of them. Like
definitely, I agree.
I would agree. Yeah,
I totally agree. They've tried so many times to do something similar, and they can't. The Mind of Dave Chappelle was just something unique.
I mean, the racial draft. I mean, all that was so good, so hilarious.
Yep. The Prince basketball, like the stories of Charlie Murphy. Oh my God!
Oh my God.
Both the Rick James and the Prince one.
Oh man, at that show. Better not bring your kids.
You remember? I just remember there's one scene in there where they were like talking about like every job done, but if it was done like by a gay service, like and like there was like the gay lawn mowing, and the guys just dancing around the lawn like after the lawnmower is like flying across the lawn.
Yeah, it's just like the lawnmower's going.
Yeah,
just dancing.
There were some really good ones. He started really getting into like the talks about the Illuminati and shit, right?
Yeah, kind of. He kind of trails off, and sometimes, and like I like most of the stuff that he talks about, but he talks about UFC a lot, and like it makes my eyes glaze over. Like I gotta skip through that shit.
Yeah,
I just can't. I'm not a competitive sports kind of guy. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. 30 seconds, right? Seven. 30 seconds, right?
Yep, we're about to be back.
Okay. Bring your camera back. This is entertaining.
Yeah, welcome back.
Absolutely.
This is Severin Freeman from Lehigh Valley Cop Block.
This is Matt of Carbon County Cop Block.
This is Scott Marshall of the Oath Accountability Project.
Rick Gonzalez, Allentown Cop Block.
So before we cut to the break, we're talking about when it's okay to initiate violence and when it isn't. We're kind of split on the topic on if somebody's not immediately threatening you, but they're threatening your property.
Well,
where were you there?
Well, let me jump in here real quick, because before the break, you were asking a bunch of questions of Scott and Rick, and I kind of have some questions for you, because it doesn't sound like you and them are on the same page. So I kind of have some questions for you. Like, at what scale do you want to see this? Because it sounds like you want to see a wide-scale revolution, like every one of us does. But the way that you are willing to go about it seems to be at a now or you know a any means necessary sort of tactic, where if it resorts to violence, it resorts to violence. Okay, what have you? My question is do you want to see? Do you want to see it like at the level of like riot in the streets in Baltimore, or do you want to see it just like this cop's fucking up, let's just go take care of it?
No. I don't want to attack any individual like that. Like, I'm not saying ever go to like a traffic stop and attack a cop. No, that's not what I'm advocating at all. I'm saying my position is we've had enough. So
right, but if you're advocating violence,
when we finally decide as a group, okay, town council, you guys are gone now. The mayor, you're gone now, and the police force, you guys are gone now. We no longer want your services.
Right, but you understand that's going to be.
If they say no, and pull out their large, massive arsenal of weapons, and say no, we will stay and keep ourselves here by force, then when is it okay for us to say, okay, our force is now needed?
Well, see, then at that point, what you're doing is you're pushing it to the next level. You're gonna go. You're talking about doing exactly what they would
says
do.
we have a right to forcibly remove.
Right. Okay, but then what are you doing but just replacing it with the same fucking machine? I mean, okay, you're talking about if they refuse, because if you do it at one spot, they're gonna start doing it everywhere. So by the time that it gets to the point where you want to see everything changed, it's got to go extremely high up the ladder. So you're talking about the destabilization of the country as it runs now. So you're talking about the complete destabilization of the United States. Look at other countries that have gone through destabilizations, like Libya, Iraq, Iran. Countries that have gone through that, it is not a good process. And if you're talking about doing that as a civil war through our country as civilians versus government itself, then you can take a look at places like Egypt, and you can take a look at the Congo and places like that. And these are all places that are not doing that are following what you are saying and not going
that our government will change through votes?
Do you think our government will just go away if you storm it with violence?
No, they're going to fight back.
Exactly.
And a lot of people are going to die.
Exactly.
Alternative. When do we get our country back? When do we get to say we don't want things again?
Sounds like Scott has
Can I
something to
propose?
say.
Well, this is an idea that that hadn't occurred to me before, but it's so simple that it should have occurred to me a long time ago. Well, it actually didn't occur to me. It was something that I heard Larkin Rose say in one of his monologues, and he said, it doesn't take people to take up arms. It doesn't take bloodshed and murder. All it would really take is to just stop. Just stop participating, stop going to court, stop paying your taxes,
and when
stop going to the DMV. Well, I'm saying...
Because the next step to that is they come to your door with armed people.
Right, but if you're talking about doing it at the level of if every single person just said, fuck it, we're not doing it, that system can't continue because they
would jail everybody.
Bullshit, because at the end of the day, we still pay for everything. So if they just if they just come through and have a giant call of everybody who's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, that just puts this country in a far worse situation. So, I mean, there's not going to be some mass call, and if there is, I mean, we're not the only country who's going to be going through it, because there's no way that the world's going to stand aside and just watch fucking World War II repeat itself. So,
I mean, look, in this instance, violence may happen, but what you got to do is you got to have faith that everybody's going to do the same thing, and then you post up at your house on your porch with your weapon of choice, and if they come for your house, you take them out. I mean, I feel like it's everybody's personal responsibility to train themselves and to arm themselves so that they can defend their own property, because that's how we got here today, is because people got lazy and they said, well, why do that when I can just call the police? They'll come save me.
Yeah. Exactly what happened. With every issue, though, it's not even call the police. It's, why should I worry about this issue when the government will handle it for me? Why should I worry about roads when the government will build them for me?
Why should I worry about teaching my kid? The government will do it.
Why should I worry about who gets to piss where when the government will take care of it for me? Like, seriously, the government will take care of everything if we keep letting them. So when we stop letting them, if violence is necessary, I don't feel like that's a bad thing. And some say it's a violation of the NAP to advocate any form of violence unless it's to defend your life. But isn't it our lives that we're talking about?
Well, it's a way of life, but it's not, until you are in complete physical danger yourself, like actually in that physical danger, there's no call or need for violence. Honestly, the way I see it is, anything that we would do would still, at the activist, if it's activists who were to do something first, it's just honestly it's not gonna ever work out. And unfortunately, it's one of those situations that if it does resort to violence, it has to be in a defensive manner. Because if it's not, it's just gonna get spun around as a criminal taking out a cop. And that dude's never gonna get a chance to talk either way it rolls out. I mean, when it comes down to violence, if he puts one down, they're definitely putting him down. And
now, what if a cop comes to arrest you and it's illegal, and you know it's illegal, you know you've done nothing wrong, and this guy
That's been happening for a long time already. We've seen the videos. People get arrested for doing nothing. We got arrested for doing nothing.
You got arrested. I got arrested for a DUI. I didn't commit, but you didn't see me sitting there and going, "Well, this isn't right." So I decided to take out the cops, the EMTs, and the witnesses. Like, fuck no.
No, but why is someone able to kidnap me and take me away for something I don't believe in?
Because our retarded ass government decided that that was a service that we needed.
No, because we decided.
And at that point, where if you're going to fight, you know, it kind of seems like we should be fighting towards getting it changed at a level higher than just police, because, you know, what we're doing right now is, although I 100% stand for what we do, when we turn around and we go out and we fight and we try to, you know, film police, we are honestly out there recording the lowest spectrum of this totem pole. I mean, in the sense of all this shit rolls downhill, because it's not like the cop makes the law. The people who you never even think of are the people out there who are doing this. Now, they are the people who sit there and put their morals and judgment on the line to follow this bullshit.
And watch the real criminals.
Right, so...
It takes a whole day to watch them take away a few of our rights. And it's really boring, the process, but they're the guys that are sending down the bills.
Well,
and
that's where change needs to happen.
We as a society need to come together, surround the building, and say, we don't want you anymore, bye-bye now. We don't want you dropping bombs in our name anymore, no more. Thank you, go away now.
Yeah, but then what happens after that?
The police come and lock everybody up. And if you resist, you're going to die.
No, let's just hypothetically sit here and say, okay, you know what? 2 million people came to Washington, D.C., surrounded the White House, Capitol, and Senate building. You know, they everything got surrounded. FBI got surrounded. They just shut that shit down with human bodies. They succeeded. They did what they had to do. They won. Now what? What happens now?
That's the big question, and we're coming back. We're going to a commercial break. Come back. Let's ponder that for a moment and come back with our answers, followed by our final segment. This is Cop Block Radio. We'll be right back.
Turn those buildings into homeless shelters.
Right.
Wow.
Are you falling asleep over there?
Nope.
You're Rick, don't fall asleep on this. Yeah, be thinking about your answer, because we're coming back to you, Rick.
I forgot what the question was. I was just thinking about something else just now.
The question is, let's say we succeed. We get all the government out of office. They step down. Everybody steps down, and our country is free from government control. What's the next step? What do we do then?
All right. So you
just say.
Don't answer that now.
Just
think about it and come back with the answer. Try to keep your answers brief, though, because we only have one segment left.
Okay. So try to keep it to like a minute and a half. What we'll do is we'll roll through that. We'll kind of have like a last coming together of.
We could do a
on
whole show on this topic, dude. Like I could talk about this all day.
I say we skip the 1147 story. We can kind of really quickly do the 1133 story. What we'll do is we'll wrap this up. Promote Scott. Thanks Scott for being. We'll jump to that last story. Plugging out.
All right. The 1147 story's gone. Can you cover the last story?
Yeah, that's fine. So we are coming. Or we drop out at 11, 57. So why don't we by 11:53 we'll plug in and cut Scott, and then we'll jump to the final story.
Cool.
All right.
I don't understand why they still play Free State commercials, but I don't know.
Because nobody's
contractual obligations.
No, because I asked them, and what's his name? Mark handles the commercials, and he told me because there's still a whole lot of Free State people that still follow them, and they're still their friends, and they're just because there's a select few that are in charge or that are being dicks, they don't want to be dicks to the rest of them.
Gotcha. What time do we come back off of this one?
In a minute. 1 minute. Or 2 minutes.
What the poop? Okay, we'll cut Scott at 54. 53 is too early. Give another minute to it. I didn't realize we were only going to leave ourselves with like 6 minutes to wrap this up.
Yeah. That's cool.
Honestly, you know what? Let's just, Scott, just roll to the end of the show. And we'll just wrap it all up at once.
Okay.
But still, let's try to make the transition over around 54 to the last story.
Hey, Scott.
How's it going?
Look.
Oh, that's awesome. You got your little scanner.
Me and Rick got some badass ones, and check it out. I looked up Carbon County for you guys. And Carbon County, the entire county only has 2 police frequencies. So if you tune those 2 in, you'll catch everything.
Awesome. That's awesome. What kind is that?
It's Uniden
this one.
E125AT.
Get Rick to send me a link.
I got 2 of them. I'll talk to you when we cut out, but Rick might not want his because his area has a special coverage.
Gotcha.
We're back. We're going to attempt to answer the question.
So the question was, what if everything succeeds? You know, the government is no longer in office and the revolution has happened. Where does that leave America in your eyes, Rick?
I just don't see it happening.
You don't see it happening?
You know, I don't see it ever happening.
All right, how about over
These
to you,
people got too much power right now that even when people go to vote, your votes don't count. Is what I've been trying to tell people all the time. Your votes don't count. Don't waste your time registering to vote. They just do it to see who votes for who. Your vote don't count. The people that go into office is the people that they pay for to go into office. You don't have the decision.
All right, so there's Rick's standpoint. How about you over there, Mr. Marshall?
I think at first you would see a lot of people, you know, going about their business normally. You know, people would. I think, you know, if things were to start to break loose, I think it would be down the road, when people forgot what it was like during these times. Like, history tends to repeat itself. So I think, you know, at first it would be a little confusing because, you know, when what we have now is so inclusive, like it's everything. So if we just stopped having all of these roads and all this stuff, people would struggle to try to figure out a concept of how to provide that without having like a structure of government, which I think can be done. You know, it doesn't sound like something that's impossible to do. You know, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have the answers for that, because I don't.
Okay.
But
well, how about we jump over and see what Severin thinks about this?
I think, aside from the initial uproar that would probably happen, you would have people trying to steal things and trying to do other things. Like the bad element would come out at first, I imagine, but we would be well armed and handle that pretty damn quickly. And
well, can I counter that?
Yeah, because here's where my argument comes in. Okay, so yeah, you do have that initial uproar. You have just uprooted the government, but you still have one more problem with the leg of the United States government. You have forgotten about the United States Army, which has 1,400,000 people enlisted currently right now.
you guys can all go home. There's nobody to boss you around anymore.
You're telling me that these people aren't going to turn around and declare martial law and just kick this shit right in the ass?
Your scenario said that this was all over with, though.
Well, no, your scenario was all over. You have just kicked Congress, White House, that all out. But at the end of the day, you're still forgetting that you got the United States Army, and I don't see how this movement walks in with violence, using violence, and trumps the United States Army.
The Army would, a civil war, we would lose because they have more guns. They've made it that way. We would lose. We would lose right away. They have big bombs.
That right there tells you that.
No,
at the end of the day, that will never work.
Let's say all the military goes home because their bosses are no longer there.
Time out though, okay? Because that's not going to happen. All right? So I'm telling you, but you just admitted right here to all three of us and everybody out there listening that if we were to try to go the violent route, that the U.S. Army would step in and declare martial law. So at that point, you had just admitted that this can't fucking work.
Give up their offices, they would willingly send the Army home before they did so.
They wouldn't send the Army home. Are you kidding me?
They're not willingly giving up their office. They're only leaving under threat.
This would be a complete act of domestic terrorism. This would go down in their eyes as a terroristic event. So at that point, they would engage the Army directly out there to handle this situation. So yeah, you might have had the people leave the building and denounce their titles, but you're still going to have the U.S. Army that you got to deal with.
Well,
I think I think you're only dealing with a certain percentage that would turn their guns on Americans. I don't think that the entire thing would, the entire army.
And women and children, are standing around also saying, "Leave now." Like,
right, but you're also going to have.
I don't know.
But you're also going to have police forces that
hypothetically speaking, if we were a society without government today, we would take care of the things that needed to be taken care of, just like we do when we don't have government involved. When the government's not involved in a pipe bursting on our street, we get a company out here to fix that. They fix the pipe, they fix the street, and they do it in a day, not a month that the government takes to fix a road.
Well,
But I think the challenge is who do you find to pay for that, and how do you get people to voluntarily come together and do that?
Well, Brian Sumner,
I think that's what would take time.
While Brian Sumner was on, he touched on that big time. As far as roads are concerned, companies that make cars would profit from roads being made. So they would be the ones paying money to get roads made.
Right, but this all hinges.
Up in remote areas need roads to get to them, so that company would pay for that road. Individuals need roads for their towns, so people would throw in money to have their towns built.
Right, so but you're basically talking about communism without communism. That's what you're talking about. That is basically communism without calling it communism, without no higher up, but it's still a communist idea.
That's an anarchist society, is one that's all voluntary.
Right, but you're sitting there and basically that used to work at the tribal level, but now that we have evolved to where we are as a society, if you sit there and you try to say that the tribal mentality would be able to work for 300 million people just in this country alone, the tribal mentality. Okay, so I live in a town right now with 18,000 people who couldn't even decide if they wanted to put a school in a spot or not. But you're telling me that we would be able to figure that kind of shit out just on our own without any...
Are you saying that these magic people called government can figure things out better than we can?
No, I'm not saying that we have a good system, but what I'm saying is...
Anything special, they are us. These people who build the roads that figure these things out will then be unemployed and be seeking employment.
Right, but what I'm telling you is that if they can't solve that shit themselves, we sure as fuck have a great history of not solving shit for ourselves either as a society. And the fact that we would want to just rely on our fellow man next door, I mean, it sounds great in the pipe dream, but when it comes down to the reality of it, what it sounds like is that you have no problem going into a situation, balls cocked, getting this government out, and then at the end of the day having absolutely no fucking idea what to do once it's done. So if you're going to go with a situation where you want to use that kind of thing, you got to go in and make sure...
I think you guys are out of time.
Yeah, I've actually spoken on this show before, and people disagreed with me, that I feel like after society gets together, we would benefit by creating some form of council, government, whatever you want to call it, some form of leadership that can do these things and make these decisions, but that are more in check than we have now. People have disagreed with me, and the people on the show jumped down my throat for that opinion. But that sounds more like what I was talking about, that we would not be all just running around free. We would create these things ourselves. We would create a council of people that are the smartest in the town to handle shit like this. I'm not that smart. I can't fix a road. I'd rather pick somebody that knows how to fix a road to do it, because he can't ask me.
Right. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of this, because unfortunately, like you said earlier, we could do a whole show on this, but unfortunately, we're just going to run out of time. So
right. It's cool. So I think we pretty much all got our sides out there. If you're out there and you have a different opinion, we'd love to hear it. Send it to the Cop Block Radio Show Facebook page, and we'll talk about it next week. But
yeah,
Matt, you got another story for us before we wrap up for the night.
Well, actually, we only have about a minute left on air, so I don't have the tab open, but I wanted to actually, before we get off of air, I wanted to talk to everybody about an awesome app called Cell 411. Now, this is an app that you can go ahead and go out, and if you're cop blocking or even just getting harassed by the police, you can send out a burst to everybody who's in your friend circle and let them know that you're in trouble and you need help. It is basically your own little 911 for everybody in your circle. Sev, why don't you go ahead and tell people where they can get their cop blocking gear?
Yeah, you can go to copblock.org/store. That's copblock.org/store. Go in there and get your Cop Block shirts, your bumper stickers, even your handouts. Donate to the cause. Become a member of the network. Get involved.
And I want to go ahead and give a special thanks to Scott Marshall and Rick Gonzalez of Oath Accountability. Scott, why don't you, of Allentown Cop Block, Scott, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of insight about where we can find you?
I'm over at YouTube and Facebook. That's YouTube or Facebook / Oath Accountability Project. Got that one and only URL. So that's where you can find me. Like and subscribe. Send me a message.
Lehigh Valley Cop Block. Lehigh Valley Cop Block on Facebook and on YouTube.
This is Matt of Carbon County Cop Block on Facebook.
And Rick Gonzalez of Allentown Cop Block, Facebook and YouTube.
Thanks for tuning in this week, guys. We'll be back next week for more.
Thanks for having me.
Peace.